Happy Sabbath, boys and girls, and welcome back to Children's Church on Exchange SDA TV. Today we are at Lesson 7, and as usual, we have a wonderful program planned for you. First up, we have Zachary with the kindergarten lesson.
Happy Sabbath, boys and girls.
Happy Sabbath, Auntie Simone.
Okay, this week we are at lesson number 7. Myself and Zachary will be doing the lesson for you. Zachary, what's the topic of our lesson this week?
The fire furnace.
The fiery furnace. Good job. And what is your memory verse?
Joshua 24, verse 15.
And what does it say?
We will serve the Lord.
We will serve the Lord. And remember last week we spoke about Daniel, and we also spoke about King Nebuchadnezzar. He had a dream. He had a dream about a statue. And because Daniel could tell him his dream, and Daniel also told him what the interpretation, he made Daniel one of the rulers in his kingdom. Okay. Has anyone ever asked you to do something wrong, Zachary?
No.
No? Never at all? Even when you're at school, your friend never said, hit that boy? Never? No? All right. You have some good friends. But let's listen to the story this week. Nebuchadnezzar, after he had his dream and he got the interpretation, he made a big image, a gigantic image. It was made out of gold. Gold is a very expensive thing, you know. It's very expensive, boys and girls, and it was very tall. It was tall like a hotel. Do you know those tall hotels in Otrias? Yes. All right. So, after the image was built, the king set up the image in the city. And after he set up that image, he said, we are going to make a rule. I'm going to play music, and all the people around will have to do what, Zachary?
Bow down.
Bow down to that image. Should we bow down to images?
No.
No. Who should we worship?
God.
God, and only God we should worship. But these people, they were worshiping this idol, this golden image. And when the music was played, the music started, and everybody bowed except for who?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Right, except for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were Daniel's friend, and they loved God so much, and they said they are not going to worship any image. They are only going to worship who?
Son of God.
God. They are only going to worship God. And then the soldiers saw this, and they ran to King Nebuchadnezzar and said, "Oh, king, did you know when the music played, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, those 3 Hebrew boys, they did not bow?" And the king got so angry, and he said, "Go, get those Hebrew boys." Would you be afraid if he called you?
No.
Right, because you are a son of God. All right. So, after the boys went to the king Nebuchadnezzar, he said, "You 3 Hebrew boys, I am going to give you one more chance. At the sound of the music, you should bow down." And he started to play the music again. And the music started to play, and everybody started bowing down to the image. And did the 3 Hebrew boys bow?
No.
No, they did not. They decided that they are going to serve only God. The king was so mad. He said, throw them in that flame of fire furnace. Whoa, he's going to throw them in the fiery furnace. After he threw them in the fiery furnace, guess what? He looked and he saw how many men?
4 men.
4 men. And the king said, that other man, he looks like the son of
God.
He looks like the Son of God. Oh my word. Jesus was protecting them in that flame of fire. Oh my word. Guess what? After that, the king said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, come out of that flaming fire. And the king was so amazed, not even the clothes that they were wearing was burnt. And he said, the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will now be our God. Only their God can save people like this. So boys and girls, let us serve God in whatever we are doing. Bye.
Next up, we have Auntie Mimi with the primary lesson.
Happy Sabbath, boys and girls. The topic of the story this morning is God's choice. Long time ago, some men thought they shouldn't have listened to their leaders. They thought that they shouldn't do what their leader says. But that was not so with God. Then trouble developed in the camp. Korah, Dathan, and Abiram thought that Moses and Aaron should not be their leader. So they decided to do a plot against Moses. But Korah was very upset. He said, I am a Levite too. Why can't my family have a chance to be priests? But God did not want it so. God wanted Moses and Aaron to be the leader of the Israelites. So Korah, Dathan, and Abiram went and made a plot against Moses and Aaron. So they went and they searched and they find 250 men. 250 men, children, are a lot, you know. So they went to Moses and said, why have you looked upon God's people? And Moses listened and he listened, and Moses warned them and said, whatever you are doing, it's against God's will. So they went ahead and they plot. And while they were doing that, they did not respect Moses, they did not respect God, and they did not accept the leader that God has chosen. So they were there trying, but God let something happen that never happened before. Abiram, Korah, and Abijah, and the 250 men were dead. That did not stop them from keep on grumbling. So God said, to get rid of the grumbling, I am going to the person who choose stick will sprout. So God told Moses to go and get 12 walking sticks from the 12 tribes of Israel. And Moses must get all the names to be put on it. So Moses chose Aaron's name and from the 12 tribe of Levi. So Aaron's name was written on his walking stick. So God told Moses to put this stick into the temple and let it stay overnight. So in the morning, Moses and the people, they all went to the tabernacle. When they went, they were very surprised. When Moses took out Aaron's walking stick, guess what, children? It had sprout, it had blossom, and it also had had almond on it. Somebody said, a dead walking stick came alive. Then Moses said, this is what God has chosen. God has chosen Aaron and Moses to be their leader. And God told Moses to put Aaron's stick into the ark. And that is a reminder that we must respect authority. The message says, we worship God who made the heavens, the sea, the earth, the sky, and the springs of water. Revelation 14 verse 7. Have a blessed Sabbath day.
It's time for the junior lesson with Jonathan, followed by the early teen lesson with Donovan.
Happy Sabbath, PowerPoints. The title of our lesson today is Heaven, a Sneak Preview. The power text. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, you may be also. John 14, verses 1 to 3. The PowerPoint. By God's grace, we prepare to live with Him forever. Have you ever wanted a house of your own, or a room of your own? What color would it be, or what would be in it? Can you imagine Jesus designing a place just for you? Jesus knew that when He was gone, His disciples would have missed Him very much. So He said these comforting words to John. Let not your heart be troubled, as found in the power text. These words inspired John, and centuries later inspired a young lady called Ellen Harmon. Ellen Harmon was a young lady who accepted Christ as her personal friend and Savior. One day, Jesus chose to give her a vision of what heaven would be like. In her vision, she saw Jesus open a wide pearly gate with shiny hinges to let her into the city. In the city, Ellen saw Jesus open a wide pearly gate with shiny hinges to let her into the city. Inside the city, she saw a pure, clear river running from a throne. Right at the side of the river, she saw one tree that appeared to be two, but joined at the top, called the Tree of Life. She went into the garden and saw many flowers. She picked some of them, knowing that they would never fade in her hands. She even decided to go and work in the garden. Even though work was usually sweaty, it was not so. She worked in the garden, but it was pleasant, and it was not as sweaty as normal. Ellen enjoyed the vision. She was so happy. She wanted to stay and eat around the big golden table that stretched for miles and miles, but Jesus told her that she had to go back and tell others the good news. So she did what she was told, but everything seemed dreary in comparison. Ellen saw heaven in a vision. When you and I finally see that land, we will stay and eat of the heavenly fruit forever.
So this week's story is about Moses. Moses was a servant of God. When Moses was 2 months old, King Pharaoh said he would kill all the baby boys from 2 months, but that didn't stop Moses' mother from saving her child. So Moses' mother put Moses inside a basket and told his sister to watch over him in Egypt. Then Moses finally reached Egypt, and King Pharaoh's daughter saw it and took it up and opened and saw a baby. So they brought Moses into the palace and they taught him how to read, how to do science and the other subjects. When Moses was 12 years old, God spoke to Moses. After Moses was a grown man, and God told Moses to take his people out of Egypt and tell King Pharaoh to let go the Israelites. Then Moses went to King Pharaoh and told him what God had told him, but King Pharaoh said, yes, they can go, but that didn't quite happen. King Pharaoh let the Israelites stay in there. Then Moses told back God, and then God sent the 7 plagues upon Egypt, and King Pharaoh couldn't manage, so he let the Israelites go. Then, after that, Moses was at the Red Sea, and Moses said to God, God, how are we going to cross? Then God said that, raise your staff in the air and the sea will part. And Moses did what God told him to do. So the Israelites passed the Red Sea, and King Pharaoh's army was right behind him. But they didn't get to take by the Israelites because they already crossed the Red Sea and the sea has closed back, and all of his army had died. So in the desert, the Israelites were thirsty, and they said to Moses, Moses, we are thirsty. And Moses said, I'm going to talk to God. Then Moses spoke to God, and God said, Moses, strike it and water will come out. And Moses did what God told him to do, and they got water. Then they said, Moses, we are hungry. And Moses prayed to God, and God gave them manna. But this manna came from heaven. And God said, take up as many as you can manage. Take up as you can manage, because the Sabbath is near, and the rest is going to be gone. And what I got from this week's lesson is that once you obey God and follow Him, He will take you through anything, no matter what. That's why we should be like Moses and be obedient to God and listen.
Finally, we have the Cornerstone lesson with Mikhail.
Happy Sabbath, Cornerstones. The topic of this week's lesson is Restored at Church. The key text: the people were all so amazed that they asked each other, "What is this? A new teaching and with authority? He even gives orders to impure spirits and they obey him." Mark 1:27. Into the story. They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, Jesus went into the synagogue and began to teach the people, who were amazed at his teaching, because he taught them as one who had authority, not as the teachers of the law. Just then a man in their synagogue, who was possessed by an impure spirit, cried out, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." "Be quiet," said Jesus sternly. "Come out of him." The impure spirit shook the man violently and came out of him with a shriek. The people were also amazed that they asked each other, "What is this? A new teaching and with authority. He even gives orders to impure spirits and they obey him." News about him spread quickly over the whole region of Galilee. Have a blessed Sabbath, Cornerstones.
Once again, thank you for joining us for Children's Church. Continue to like and share and subscribe if you haven't. Tune in for the rest of quarter 2. Bye!